I got it into my head that it was going to be hard to conceive.
Really?
Yeah,
Did you have people around you that had
I think some
struggled?
people had. You don't have to look far before
Yeah.
you start realising that lots of people have suffered. But people didn't talk about it as much. So it was only while talking to people. So I think I thought it might be a problem. I think that I have a tendency to think the worst thing's going to happen. So I was like, well, blah, 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 I'm going to find it tough. And so I slightly regret that because I made it like I regret a lot of the time that I sort of have anticipatory anxiety around stuff, which I know a lot of people do because I kind of spoil it for myself and I'm not sure it's necessarily helpful, but it's a protective mechanism, isn't it? So I'm like, also, thank you, anxiety. You're trying to protect me. Like, I don't want to judge myself so much for that. But it has been a long journey. I also remember having 2 miscarriages and saying to someone, oh, well, I mustn't complain. It's only 2. Other people have 10. And that person just going, no, give yourself, like, you've been through it.
Yeah.
And I remember going, well, it was only at X weeks. And they were like, no, you're like, and so I think that is something amazing. I've also listened to a million of your podcasts, Giovanna. So I feel like I've learned a lot from other women, and that's why I love your podcast and why I got nervous about being on it and why I'm so chuffed to be with you today, because it is, when you hear people talk about their mothering journey, it's total privilege because it's so wrapped up in so many things.
Yeah.
It's so many of their values and thoughts and fears that they've had from a long time. And I remember thinking, as I was doing it, well, what if this doesn't work? Then who will I be? Because I had always wanted to be a mum. And I had a lot of people help me. A lot.
Well, you've said, they say it takes a village to raise a child, but actually sometimes it takes a village to make a child.
To make a child.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of amazing people I had around me. One woman called Emma, who really sadly passed away a few months ago, she used to always say to me, every day in every way, it's getting better and better, which is what her dad used to say to her. And she used to say it to me. And some days I'd love it. Yeah. And some days I'd be like, fuck off. Which would really make her laugh. I can imagine her laughing up in heaven now. And she wouldn't say just be positive for the sake of it. But she was very much into exploring fertility, not just calling fertility this ability to make a baby, because some people don't want to make a baby and some people desperately want to make a baby and are unable to. So she very much talked to me about creating this fertile life for you where things are possible and you leave space for things to grow, and thinking about you and your tomato plants, like, do amazing things in your life where you watch things grow and like tend to things and nurture things that are separate from work and all the humdrum and stress of life. There's a reason why we're all eating these foods now, because we have no time, or time is just running away from us and we're just living on autopilot. So she taught me loads about trying to live a fertile life, and I always will think of her in that sense. Yeah. And then another woman said to me, when I decided I was going to do IVF, someone said, why don't you, before you start IVF, give yourself 6 months for your body and mind to start to try and recover from your last miscarriage? And I was like, no, I can't wait another 6 months. Like, in my head.
Did you have that feeling of kind of like, I don't want to sit in this. I need to get pregnant.
Yeah. I would think, I can't do another Christmas without knowing. I can't do another birthday without knowing that it's going to be okay. And this person said to me, why don't you mother yourself for 6 months? And it was so lovely. And I think about that a lot when I'm not being kind, or I'm saying nasty things to myself in my head. I think, like, what nice things can I do for myself to soothe me and look after me and make myself feel safe?
I feel like a lot of people shy away from that conversation of fertility because it's almost been a thing of, it's been taken off the table. Shouldn't talk about it because what someone's going through, it's their personal thing.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, if someone asks you a question, that could be a door opening to kind of speaking about it and actually helping yourself in giving that answer. Not to
Yeah.
everyone,
Yeah.
you know, because you don't want someone down the
Yeah.
road to know about what you're going through, but it could be.
Yeah, it could be. And I feel like if you want to have that conversation, I would say, from my opinion, it was part of my healing journey. I'm doing all my finger quotes because it was really helpful for me. And I'll tell you another book that I read, Izzy Judd's book.
Yes.
Dare to Dream was so amazing for me. You're in her book. She talks about how people were around her and supported her. And I remember really liking her book because she, well, you knew when I read the book that there was a happy ending.
Yeah.
But also it was just so easy to read. It was so honest, and I still haven't found a book like it, and so I've still got it because I'm thinking about trying again. We have some more embryos in the freezer, and I've got like my section of the bookshelf which has got Izzy's book in it, my friend Emma Cannon who passed away's book in it, and lots of the beautiful like notes, cards, affirmations, things that I kept with me because it's going to be a whole new journey, and I'm coming into it now with, I hope, a bit more hope, a bit more mothering. And again, I'm not going to put myself pressure because I found myself saying to my partner, Henry, I'm going to really enjoy it this time. I was like, whoa there. First of all, you've got a little baby now. And just stop with the pressure.
Yeah. What I found reading Izzy's book actually is that even though I was there and I know that I was a support, there's so much within it that I wasn't aware of. And as a friend, you kind of go, I wish I'd known that stuff. And it's really difficult, I think, when people around you are having babies and, you want that for people. But there's also a feeling of almost being left behind.
Yeah.
Even though, or knowing, me and Izzy both had miscarriages, and I know that she won't mind her name being referenced in this.
Yeah.
But that feeling of that's where I should be.
Yeah.
My baby should be here now.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember where we used to live in East London. We used to live near Wanstead Park, which is this amazing park known for its bluebell woods. And I remember walking around the bluebells, and I would see, and like the bluebells come, don't they? Right when the first hint of spring, and the little ducks have got everything's fertile, let's say, and everything's coming into bloom. And I remember going on a Saturday morning and wanting to go really early. I've got to go early in the morning before all the families get there because I was so deep in my grief, and it felt like woman after woman, pregnant woman after pregnant woman was coming through these bluebell woods, and it felt like I remember just feeling awful for not wanting to be happy.
Yeah.
I didn't know their story, whether they struggled to conceive or not, but I remember feeling my thoughts are so ugly, my heart is so ugly that I don't want to look at these pregnant women. And I remember just like crying in the bluebell woods and like running into the trees. And of course my boyfriend's like, huh? What's going on? Thought you wanted to come and see the bluebells. And I'm like, I can't explain to him how dark and ugly I feel about this. And then I remember reading someone else say, if it helps, here's a suggestion. Every time you walk past a pregnant woman or you see one, just let that lovely bond between the mother and the baby, or let that mothering energy just wash over you. Enjoy that. And remember that someone else's pregnancy isn't taking away from yours.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I'm kind of saying this, but it's your beautiful face making me feel so safe. But I remember just really wrestling with the ugly, dark thoughts about other people's pregnancies, because I genuinely was happy for them. But I really had to talk myself into remember that their joy is not taking away from yours in the future, or that their journey has nothing to do with yours in the best possible way.
Yeah.
And remember, with every I used to really cling on to anyone's positive story.